Ahead of the much-awaited Lok Sabha elections, Prime Minister Narendra Modi began his 10-day multi-state visit campaign by unveiling developmental projects in Telangana's Adilabad. This journey is covering 12 states and union territories across the corners of the country with 29 programs on the schedule. Well, the Prime Minister kick-started his visit to Telangana, wherein he unveiled developmental projects worth Rs 56,000 crores. He then travelled to Tamil Nadu and inaugurated projects worth Rs 17,300 crores, including 36 industrial projects, hoping to, in fact, go to Odisha after this. Prime Minister Modi dedicated projects worth Rs 19,600 crores in the state. And after that, on the 6th of March, the PM visited West Bengal, wherein he inaugurated India's first underwater metro station in Kolkata. The PM also visited Bihar, wherein he dedicated multiple infrastructure projects related to railroad, petroleum and natural gas at an estimated cost of Rs 12,800 crores. Not only that, the PM then visited Srinagar after the abrogation of Article 370 for the first time. He adorned the Shankaracharya Hills in Srinagar and dedicated projects worth Rs 30,000 crores there. After that, he went to New Delhi and presented the first ever Creators Awards. Moving to Assam, the Prime Minister held a mega roadshow at the Kaziranga Sanctuary, thus putting India biodiversity on the headlines. Well, after that, he also went to Arunachal Pradesh and inaugurated the Sela Tunnel, which had been in the works since 2019. After that, he visited Kashi Vishwanath Temple in Uttar Pradesh. A lot has taken place and a lot more is going to take place in the next few days. The question that arises is, what's next as far as the Prime Minister's vision is concerned? What is he looking towards the next 5 years? What could be the priorities that he could be, in fact, looking at? Mr. Desh Ratan Nigam, political analyst, joins us on the show. Rajalakshmi Joshi, political analyst, also with us on the program. Dr. Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst, joins us all the way from Bangalore. Last but by no means the least, Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, with us on the program as well. Professor Nalapat, I'll begin with you, sir. Well, the Prime Minister has had an exhaustive itinerary. He's been going state to state, making sure that developmental work, is continuing, is in fact a priority. But the next 5 years for him, his party and his government are going to be crucial. There were a number of milestones, which were projected since 2014. They were in fact reset in 2019 once again. What is going to be the agenda with which the Prime Minister is going to, carry forward this blitzkrieg?
Yeah, Vineet, assuming that the BJP wins the next election with a significant majority, and that is what, frankly, most people are expecting. Once that is the case, it is very clear that the Prime Minister's vision is that the next 5 years is going to be devoted to ensuring a speeding up of the development process, preferably into double digits. The magic of double-digit growth is the best way of tackling poverty, and it's the best way of ensuring that people from the lower societal groups enter the middle classes, and people from the middle classes enter the higher classes. You have a situation where you have a shrinking middle class, and you have a shrinking higher class and an expanding lower class is a very negative situation. And we saw that in certain periods of the country's history, but we have not seen that at all in the last 10 years. And the last 10 years have been a period of very good growth under Prime Minister Modi. The reason is that he's a practical person. He comes from a state whose people are famous for their practicality, Gujarat, and he would like to get things done. Not, merely talking, but also doing. And I think what we are seeing in this for a fresh round of tours is basically his approach, which is an approach that, look, we are going to get a lot of things done. We got a lot of things done. Many more things are going to be done in the next 5 years. And I can remind you, everybody is talking about this being election related. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been touring the country up and down. He's been touring the world up and down over the last 10 years. During that time, he has faced 2 elections. That's it. But he's been practically every month, he has been doing intensive touring. So I think it will be a little unfair to call this election related. He's doing what he wants to do, which is connect with the Indian people, give them the vision of development of the future, give them hope and empowerment, and he does that exceptionally well.
Mr. Nigam, Professor Nalapat is right. This is not predominantly related to just the elections that are coming. It's also related to an equitable distribution of developmental projects throughout the country, which is also going to define the next term for him.
Yes, Vineet. In fact, if you look at the Prime Minister's recent programs, and in fact, I follow his speeches also, he gave a report card in an event of his last 75 days. And 9 lakh crore rupees of projects either were inaugurated, dedicated to the nation, or the foundation stones have been laid. This is phenomenal, unparalleled in the history of the world. And in 75 days, so much of investment, inauguration, dedication, so much of foundation laying ceremonies. And this is exactly what happened in pre-2019 as well. And however, the speed and scale is much higher and faster this time. And the mantra that he has been given for future is the high-speed connectivity, mobility, and prosperity of the nation. These are the 3 words he has been using. And especially during the time in the world, which is facing very challenging times, unpredictable, unstable environment in the world, where the world is looking up to India for a leadership. We are also looking up India becoming a 3rd largest economy in the world. And the effort which is coming from the Prime Minister, the energy, the reserve of energy that he has is phenomenal. I mean, I don't think he sleeps 3 to 4 hours, more than 3 to 4 hours a day. And the energy that he gets it. And going from, look at the semiconductor industry that he is going to, lay down foundations for Gujarat and Assam. And in Arunachal Pradesh, Sela is the Sela Pass that is going to inaugurate. A clear signal to the previous regimes which were avoiding, Arunachal Pradesh because of the Chinese pressure. Now he takes the China head-on in Arunachal Pradesh, a number of visits that he has made. And the border area infrastructure development taking place, the inauguration of airports and the railway upgradation of infrastructure, electrification, renewal of lines, all these things is phenomenal. I mean, I can keep on, reeling statistics and everything. The world is saying that India has removed the abject poverty from India. And therefore, it is phenomenal. I was looking at the map of the poverty. India is nowhere there in the abject poverty. It's not there. It stands with the developed nations so far as the aspect is concerned. And the people who came from US, let me tell you, they have been saying the way the India is developing in its infrastructure. I think because US's infrastructure is crumbling now. It had been created about 100 years back. Now, what is happening is theirs is crumbling, and we are making world-class infrastructure, whether it is the highest bridge in Jammu and Kashmir, and the Prime Minister's recent, rally in Jammu and Kashmir. And when people say that it is not related to politics, why should it not be related to politics? Please tell me. Politics means understanding the aspirations of the people, converting them into goals, and making policies and effectively delivering them and implementing them. This is the actual definition of policy. However, we have come to understand politics in a very negative terms because of the 70 years experience that we have. Therefore, politics, yes, every political party wants to win the election. And then the political parties are in competitive politics. And why not? The Prime Minister is taking the lead and wants the NDA to again come back to the power so that all the foundation stones that have been laid today will be completed before 2029. That is the message that he is giving. And 9 lakh crores in 75 days and few thousands and hundreds of thousands crores to be added more in next 3-4 days. And I believe the Prime Minister is right on the dot. India is marching ahead, and the message to the world is clear that India is ready to give the leadership. It has already given leadership to G20 countries and is ready to give future leadership and resolve very numerous amounts of conflicts which are happening in the world. The world is looking up to India. The Middle East is looking up to India. The Russians are looking up to India. The Americans are looking up to India. The Southeast Asia is looking up to India. The Europe is looking up to India. I mean, and even the Latin Americans are looking up to India. So we have a very situation where the Prime Minister is clearly sending the message both nationally and internationally that India's time has arrived. We are here to give a leadership to the world, and I'm sure BJP and the NDA is going to handsomely win down. I'm not the kind of person who gives ifs and buts if BJP wins or if BJP does not win. The ground reports that we have, the immense amount of goodwill that the people of this country have for the NDA, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari or Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat. The goodwill is phenomenal. And that is what Prime Minister is telling the world. It is development, 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 and nothing else. And that should be the motto for the people, where we are coming out of that slave mentality. The unveiling the statue of Lachit Barphukan, a clear single symbol where the legendary Barphukan had defeated the Mughals in the war of rivers that he had fought. And unveiling the statue of Lachit Barphukan is a clear symbol that he talked from the Red Fort, that we have to come out of the slave mentality, recognize your legendary heroes, respect them, and learn from them.
Right.
Vinny.
Absolutely. Great points there, Mr. Nigam. And Dr. Abbas, do you think, despite your differences with the ruling dispensation, do you think that the Prime Minister and his work and his vision has actually translated in India being perceived as Vishwaguru?
Well, largely, Vineet Saab, I've always believed in the words of, somewhere I read, when you do the most common things in life, in the most uncommon way, you command the attention of the world. I think in matters of our country, our beautiful country, in the matters of the nation, we must all come together, be it the Congress Party, the Janata Dal United, or even the Bharatiya Janata Party. We need to understand when largely the world sees us as a nation, India, they look at us, India, as one nation and not a nation which is split amongst groups, opinions, communities, societies, or people. Of course, we have pluralism in our nature, secularism in our nature, but the right way ahead is undoubtedly the intent should be of a Vishwaguru. Undoubtedly, the intent is to stand as a nation as one and proceed towards it. No doubt, India in the sectors economically, the GDP, and of course, the way we have seen unicorn coming up is absolutely brilliant. Many of my friends here in Bengaluru have gone on to do excellently well in the ventures of startup ecosystem, which is a great sign. Digital India is working. On a lighter note, I see even a beggar on the road coming up with a QR scanner. I am like, what does India come to? But it's great that the accessibility of the same has come into every nook and corner. Even the Panwala has a QR code today to anybody, a street vendor, to a largest enterprise. That is the way to go ahead. So therefore, we do see Swachh Bharat Abhiyan working. We do see Digital India working. We do see Startup India working. There needs to be many more policies which needs to come through, better regulations to come through for ease of business, ease of the ecosystem to further mushroom and nurture. That is the way ahead. Also, as a matter of fact, when we look at one thing, the India Alliance partners, the Congress Party, be it the Aam Aadmi Party or the Trinamool, many of these parties need to learn one thing from Modi's BJP, which is their thirst for success. They will not stop until their goal is met. I truly believe ambition leads you there. 24/7, they've been an election-winning juggernaut, a machinery of sorts, which leads them through and through. Without that hunger in Rahul Gandhi, it will be very difficult for him to even keep his seat if he is contesting from Amethi again. I think that is something which is largely lacking in the India Alliance partners. They need to know that you are, as a political party, not as an NGO, not as a travel tourism partner, but you are there to win elections. Because without being in power, it is no good. It is the corridors of power which lead to the policy making of this beautiful country, without which you will only do a good form of PR there. Also, one thing undoubtedly we need to understand, when I was watching the National Creators Award, what did we see? These influencers and creators have been rewarded, which is great. Our nation identified that the large spectrum of influence takes place from there. And Honorable Prime Minister being there, awarding these young, dynamic Indians, it's a great step in the right direction. And that is where he mentioned, where my friend Deshnita Nigam said, yes, he sleeps for a very limited time, of course, owing to his large responsibilities. But he also did admit that बहुत से लोग मुझे डांटते रहते हैं because of his very few hours of sleep. I think sleep is something we shouldn't learn from Modi ji. On a lighter note, of course, we need to get in a good 6 to 8 hours of
But
sleep.
you didn't answer my question,
being a
Dr.
Prime
Abbas.
Minister,
Do you think that the Prime Minister has been instrumental in changing the perception of India as a Vishwaguru?
I'll tell you an incident which my good friend Rahul Nilkant, who is a businessman, he told me 20 years back when he went to Dubai, or 10, 15 years back when he went to Dubai, he did not really he was kind of not treated that well, knowing he's an Indian. Now that when Arabs even hear him, even at the airports, there's a large level of respect that he feels, a large level of inclusivity where he is seen as different business summits. Many of my friends who are Indians are also living abroad. They have also said, certainly, yes, we Indians are largely more respected now than before. Undoubtedly, that is. I believed in the words of Shashi Tharoor Vinitsa, who once said that when the government in power is doing good job, we as opposition need to go out there and say, yes, they are. When they aren't, we need to call it out. Only then will you be seriously taken as a critic, as an analyst, or even opposition. Opposition undoubtedly is the watchdog, but the right kind of watchdog. When there is good, you need to say it's good. When bad, of course, we can always critique it. But of course,
But
I do
usually
have
there's only bad
apprehension.
coming out, Dr. Abbas. There's mostly
There
bad
is
coming
bad.
out from the
In terms,
opposition.
I'll tell you,
Is that
Vinitsa,
fair?
where the bad is, where I tend to differ from the BJP is 95% of the enforcement directorate cases are all on opposition leaders. इसका ये मतलब है
What does that have
कि
to do with
इन्हीं corrupt-
development? What does that have to do with development? That's
No,
law
no,
and
no.
order. That's law and
I'm
order.
talking. Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking about the
I can
critique,
come in.
being a critique of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Any Neta. First, NCP was called naturally corrupt party by Modi ji. But the same Ajit Pawar, when he forms an alliance with BJP, he's entered a washing machine. Not just him. Narayan Rane, Nitish Rane, to what we see in many of the leaders here in Karnataka. Many leaders, Himanta Biswa Sarma, Sharda chit fund scam, CBI, ED, IT tend to become a
But Dr.
cage
Abbas, that's
parrot
politics.
because it
Dr.
still
Abbas,
is.
that's politics. It's supposed to be dirty.
No, politics cannot be
Okay,
dirty always.
okay.
Sir.
Let me get a
It needs
response
to
from
be cleaned.
let me get a response from Mr. Nigam. Mr.
No,
Nigam wants to
Vinit
come in.
sir.
Mr. Nigam is
30
eager
seconds,
to come
I
in
will-
now. Mr. Nigam, go
30
ahead, sir.
seconds, I will just complete.
One
with a
second,
quick
I'll come
point,
back
Vinit
to you.
sir.
I'll come back to you. We want more of your interesting thoughts on this. Mr. Nigam,
Okay.
please respond.
Vineet, in
But
fact,
politics should be clean.
Vineet, in fact, ED is cleaning politics. In fact, how do you control the corruption because of dynasty politics, where you're only promoting sons and daughters, giving contracts to their companies? Here is what the role of ED becomes very important. ED is cleaning politics and corruption, which ultimately will lead to development, because otherwise half the money gets locked up and is siphoned out, and the real development does not take place. That is what the Modi ji's gift to this nation is. And believe me, his another term, lot of difficult times for the corrupt people is going to come. A lot of difficult decisions and tough decisions are going to come up, and God save the corrupt.
Okay.
Can I
Let's
quick 30
one
second
second,
response
Dr.
to
Abbas.
that?
Let's quickly get a response from Rajalakshmi Joshi as well. She's
Okay,
been waiting
okay.
for a long time. Rajalakshmi Joshi, do you think that despite all the development and the progress that India has made, the internal system of political witch hunt is becoming like a scar on the BJP's reputation? Do you concur with Dr. Abbas's assessment of this?
Good afternoon, Vineet. I definitely do not concur with that because, very frankly, I think that, India's population, India's citizens want even stricter, even more action on the people who they see as corrupt. So, there have been all these crackdowns on all the people who have been looked up as corrupt, who have been looked down as corrupt, I would say. But, I would say that people still want even more action. So that is what is lacking. I think, even now, I think things are going a little slow on that front. And yet, every time there is any kind of an action against anybody, people start talking about it as political vendetta. Like, look at how many summons Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has just simply ignored, and he has not answered it. So, I think that they should have been pulled up even more quickly. Like when Mr. Hemant Soren, he actually was picked up after on the 10th summons. So, this kind of a slow action, I would say, is something that actually people are looking for even faster action on all of these fronts. And let me tell you that none of these names are something that have just simply come out of the blue. Actually, the Congress, when they were in power, even during the UPA, it was the same list of people who are under the ED scanner, who are under the CBI scanner. It is not new names. Even under the UPA Sarkar, also, all these people were definitely picked up. They were under the ED investigations. And even today, there's the same thing happening because they have been under all these kind of scams and all kinds of allegations. All of that was there. Now, when it comes to the BJP, when it comes to the BJP leaders, I don't know what stops anybody from putting up cases against the BJP leaders. They should be putting it up. You have such fabulous, such fantastic advocates, such fantastic people in the legal circles in the Congress and in the
Okay.
India Alliance. They
Okay,
should be putting
all right.
up all
Okay,
those
okay.
cases.
Before I go to Dr. Abbas, I want Professor Nalapat also to weigh in on this turn of topics that we have had in the middle of this debate, Professor Nalapat.
Look, I'd only like to say that, in my view, where penalties are concerned, there should be a differentiation between those, for example, who have committed, let us say, tens of thousands of crores of loot, and those who have committed, let's say, hundreds of thousands or maybe a lakh or 2 lakhs of loot. The British law is the same thing. Whether you steal 1 rupee or you steal a crore of rupees, well, you're subject to the same. That is wrong. I think there should be a graded system. Just as in taxation, there should be a graded system. In every tax, those who have lower income should pay a much lower rate of tax than those who have higher income. I think every tax needs to be progressive and not regressive. And I'm very certain that we're going to see a very progressive tax regime, assuming that the BJP comes to power. And frankly, Vineet, I've been traveling in the South, and I talked to several people. And believe me, the overwhelming majority of them say they are going to vote for Narendra Modi. They don't say BJP at all. And many of them, the members of parliament, are not from the BJP, may I point out. They say, we are voting for Modi. We are voting for Modi ji. Now, they're not voting for BJP. Mr. Nigam, please forgive me. They're not voting for the BJP. They're voting for Narendra Modi. The second point is that north, south, east, west. You have large numbers of people from South India settled in the north. A large part of my life has been spent in the north. I have had absolutely zero problems in the north, and I know a lot of friends who are in the south. Some of the most dynamic, companies in the south. For example, a very high technology company in Bangalore is run by an individual whose mother is Bengali and whose father is a Punjabi. They all function beautifully. So this north-south divide is an artificial divide. And I can say one thing very clearly: the image of Prime Minister Modi cuts across that divide. And speaking for my very dear friend Syed Abbas, I would like to say that I do compliment him by pointing out that yes, the Prime Minister has done many very good things, and yes, he is popular across the country.
Dr. Abbas, you want to respond to what Rajalakshmi Joshi also said? In fact, Dr. Abbas, the Prime Minister himself, a few days ago, in the winter session of the Parliament, went on to say that, the ED is doing its own job. It should not be conflated with whatever is happening in terms of, India doing this or that.
Well, I'll tell you, there was a time when Bharatiya Janata Party was called a party with a difference. They always said they're a party with a difference. It was during the UPA rule when the CBID IT was called a cage parrot by the honorable courts. But we need to understand the same party is doing the same, the NDA is doing the same as the UPA. I'll tell you why. Many of the corrupt netas, I can list it out to you, those who joined BJP, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed, either they're horse traded, like here in Karnataka, I've watched it very closely. Or I'm not saying Modi ji, but we need to understand, Rajalakshmi ji, that what we see coming through, I or you cannot dictate an ED, CBI or IT to do their job. They do it by themselves. They are, of course, under the aegis of the government of India. So therefore, I or you can't go out and put any cases there. So it's done by them. Who controls, who operates? I leave that question and answer to you. Second point, Desh Ratan Nigam Saab was speaking about this. Respected sir, I have no problem. I'm not saying there is any BOFA scam here or the different scams which happened during the UPA role. Absolutely not. I'm not talking about any scams. Modi ji agrees and believes, na khaunga, na khane dunga. Lekin, my problem is, how come a tainted Neta like a Himanta Biswa Sarma, where many of the BJP leaders themselves said he's the most corrupt Neta, joins BJP and becomes clean? No update on this Sharda chit fund scam. No update on Shuvendu Adhikari. What about Janardhan Reddy mining hair brothers in Karnataka or our honorable former Chief Minister Yediyurappa? Let us agree.
Okay, let Mr. Nigam respond to that. We've run out of time. Let Mr. Nigam respond to that. Mr. Nigam?
I think since I am a lawyer, the only lawyer on the panel, nobody can give a clean chit to any leader, only the courts can do it. Courts control the process once the FIR is registered, whether it is Hemanta Biswa, whether it is Reddy brothers or anybody. If they try to, scuttle the investigation ED, the court is there to see it. You just move an application, you have plenty of lawyers, move an application that it is being sabotaged, the courts can control. And therefore, even if you think there are BJP leaders who are corrupt, you have a process given in the IPC, 156.3 of the CRPC, earlier CRPC in July, a new CRPC is coming up. Go and lodge a complaint. The court directs an FIR to be registered against them. You people don't do it. You, in Karnataka, no action, not a single FIR has been registered for 40% commission. It was only a political gimmick. Where has that gone? Please tell me.
No. Wrong. No, I'd like to correct that.
Please let me tell you one thing. The 40% cut is now again on the Congress government now. Believe me.
Can I correct the point? No, there have been multiple FIRs, sir. From the Contractors Association of Karnataka, there has been on Ishwarappa. Ishwarappa is the minister.
Okay, all right, we've run out of time.
So there have been
we've run out of time. Okay, we've run out of time. This is obviously an ongoing debate, and we'll continue to come back and further scratch our heads on what's what. But right now, I'd like to thank all my guests for being a part of this conversation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.